Judiciary Committee today. You don't know what that number is?
Mr. Chairman, what I am sharing with you is that we will provide you with whatever data you request.
Now some are calling for his impeachment. For more on the future of the DHS Secretary, we're joined by Republican Congressman from Texas and member of the House Judiciary Committee, Lance Gooden. Congressman, welcome to the program, and thanks for joining us in studio off the Hill. We appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
This was a very tense hearing. I was watching it very closely, and it sounded like you and your fellow Republicans felt like you weren't getting much out of the Secretary. At the same time, it also felt like it was a game changer in terms of a possible impeachment inquiry. So let me just ask you straightforward here, because everybody at home wants to know. Are Republicans going to impeach the Secretary?
I believe we will get there and get there sooner than later. I've been asking for information from this Homeland Secretary for 2 years. I've got nothing. This last hearing, I asked questions. I got no answers. You saw the exchange with Mr. Gates. He refused to answer questions. Not that he couldn't, it's that he wouldn't. And this is what we've seen. The border is wide open. He has lied to Congress under oath. The last time he came in, he lied to Chip Roy. Chip Roy called him out on it this week, and he changed the subject, wouldn't answer the question. But what we're hearing from him are outrageous claims, like the border is secure. How is the border secure if you're seeing what we just saw up in New York? If they're complaining about border security measures that Texas is taking, the border is not secure based on what you and I and everyone in America sees. No American that's a serious person believes that we have a secure border. And members of Congress are frustrated, and their constituents are furious.
I think people at home are very, very angry and really anxious for something to happen on Capitol Hill. You brought up Chip Roy. He put a lot of Republicans on notice this week, basically saying, look, you've got to convince yourself, if you're a holdout on this impeachment, you've got to convince yourself and do it fast. Have you spoken to any of these holdouts, these folks that just don't feel like the bar has been met yet for an impeachment?
You know, I'm not convinced that anyone really believes that the bar's not been met yet, which means it's political. And I think that's a problem. And so when I talk to members of my conference on the Republican side and we make the case for impeachment for Mr. Mayorkas, I say to you, I say to this member, I say, if it seems as if this is the right thing to do, then that should be the only question you ask yourself. Whether or not it's difficult for you politically at election time is not what we came here to do. We came here to do the right thing. And if the right thing is to impeach Mayorkas for the American people and for our future, then that's what we should do. We shouldn't do things out of consideration for members in difficult districts. I hear that so many times from some in our conference saying, well, we're putting members in a difficult spot by forcing them to take tough votes. We need to do the right thing, no matter the political consequences. What's right for the American people is always the right move in Congress. Okay, so you are confident this is going to happen. On timing, I've got sources telling me that this could happen as early as when you return in September. Anything could happen anytime. If someone in Congress tells you that something's going to happen at a certain time, they don't really know, or they're hopeful. I have learned since I've been there that nothing ever starts on time, and rarely do things happen when they're told. So it could, but we've got a lot of appropriations bills to take up in September. The government shuts down October 1st. I think September will be a very busy month, but judiciary is not appropriations. So I don't know what the chairman's plans are for impeachment proceedings if we get to that point, but I suspect that there will be a very solid case made for Mr. Mayorkas. Okay, let's switch gears to Texas, to your home state. We've got a legal battle going on. The DOJ is suing the state of Texas over these buoys, these big orange buoys that have become a barrier on the Rio Grande River. And this is what the DOJ now says. They're dragging Mexico into this and basically saying that it has caused significant and ongoing harm to the United States foreign relations with Mexico, and that Mexico has actually called them up and raised its concerns at the highest diplomatic levels over treaty obligations, warning that any loss of life in that river could quickly give rise to a significant international incident. Sounds very serious, Congressman. Do you believe it? Well, first of all, I won't stand for being preached to by the Mexican government. They're a narco-terrorist state. They let the cartels run their country. Until they get them under control, they don't need to tell us. They won't even admit that fentanyl is coming from that country. It's offensive. But the other thing that I think is contradictory to what we heard from the Secretary and what I hear from Democrats all the time is that the border, if it is safe and secure and we don't have an open open border, what do they care what Greg Abbott does in the Rio Grande south of Texas? If migrants are only coming through ports of entry and they're not coming across the river in illegal ways, then why are they so concerned about border security measures? The reason is because they know the border's not secure. They don't want us to secure the border. They support open borders. And I absolutely support Greg Abbott in Texas. I wish we had Republican governors in the other border states that could do the same thing, but I applaud him and his work.
Really quickly, 2 seconds. Do you think it's going to go to the Supreme Court, this case?
The border security, the Rio Grande, it wouldn't surprise me. It wouldn't surprise me.
Okay. Congressman, thanks for
you.
joining us. We appreciate it. Enjoy your break.
Thank you.
All right. So still ahead, the wife of a former college football star is arrested over claims that she conspired to murder her husband.